Dubai ranks near the top of almost every global safety index that exists. Tourists walk through Dubai Mall at midnight without a second thought. Ask why, and you get the same 5 answers every time. Strict laws, constant surveillance, wealth, deportation, culture. Every tourism site repeats it, and none of it is technically wrong. But here is a question almost nobody asks. What kind of population actually produces numbers that low? And is that population free to report a problem if one exists? Start with what is genuinely true. Dubai maintains an extensive surveillance network. An AI-enabled system called Oyun monitors public spaces through hundreds of thousands of cameras. Dubai police report that crime fell more than 20% between 2020 and 2024. On the Numbeo Crime Index, a widely used global measure, Dubai sits around 15 to 16, among the lowest scores recorded anywhere in the world. None of that is disputed. And here is where the picture gets more complicated. Roughly 88% of the people actually living in the UAE are not citizens. They are migrant workers, and their legal status depends almost entirely on staying in their employer's good graces.
That relationship runs through something called the kafala system. Human Rights Watch, in its 2025 and 2026 World Reports on the UAE, documents that kafala ties a worker's visa directly to their employer, who can confiscate a worker's passport. If a worker leaves their job, even to escape abuse, the employer can file what is called an absconding charge against them, putting that worker at risk of detention and deportation without the due process protections you might expect.
Wage theft and exorbitant recruitment fees show up repeatedly across these reports, described as widespread, not isolated. A worker might arrive already in debt from fees paid to a recruitment agency back home, months of salary owed before they have earned anything for themselves, which makes leaving a bad job even harder than the legal barriers alone would suggest. Some legal reforms have been introduced over the years, but Human Rights Watch's own reporting notes enforcement remains inconsistent, and the core structure has not fundamentally changed. It gets more specific from there. Trade unions are illegal in the UAE. According to the U.S. State Department's Human Rights Report, independent organizations that track human rights abuses are not permitted to operate inside the country. So even if a worker experiences something worth reporting, there is no independent structure in place to receive that report and act on it. No union to escalate a grievance through. No domestic watchdog to document a pattern across employers. And it escalates further still. Criticism of the government itself is a criminal offense. In 2025, a UAE appeals court upheld sentences ranging from 10 years to life in prison for 53 defendants. Among them, a well-known blogger, over a 2011 petition calling for political reform. That sends a clear signal about what happens when you draw attention to a problem rather than quietly living with it. There is one more layer worth sitting with. In 2023, Dubai hosted COP28, the UN climate conference, presenting itself as a model of progress and sustainability. Human Rights Watch's reporting from that period found construction workers building the conference sites faced the same conditions already described: wage theft, passport confiscation, while working through extreme summer heat. Under a midday break policy, researchers found insufficient to prevent heat-related illness. The break covers a fixed window, regardless of the actual temperature that day, so workers can still be laboring outdoors during some of the hottest hours the region experiences. Domestic workers, meanwhile, a category that includes many of the people cleaning homes and caring for children across the city, are excluded from the country's main labor law protections entirely, leaving them with even less legal footing than construction workers already have. Put those pieces together, and something becomes visible that the standard 5 reasons never mention. Call it the visibility gap. The population most likely to experience exploitation is also the population least able to report it without risking the one thing that lets them remain in the country at all. Compare that to how safety statistics get built almost anywhere else. A crime statistic is usually shaped by what people are willing and able to report: a complaint, a police report, a labor dispute filed through a union. Take away the union, the watchdog, the free press, and the ability to leave a bad job safely, and you have not necessarily reduced how much goes wrong. You have reduced how much of it becomes visible in the numbers anyone outside the system ever sees. Two cities could have identical rates of exploitation happening behind closed doors, and only one of them would show up as unsafe in the data, purely because of who was allowed to speak. This is not a claim that the surveillance and the laws do nothing. They almost certainly deter exactly the kind of visible, opportunistic crime a tourist might encounter during a week-long trip. That part of the story is accurate. It is just not the whole story. And it was never going to be, as long as the only voices producing the data are the same authorities being measured by it. A tourist walking through Dubai Mall at midnight is measuring something real when they feel safe. A construction worker who does not hold his own passport, with no legal path to organize or report a grievance without risking deportation, is living inside a completely different version of that same statistic, one built on his silence rather than his security. So the next time you see Dubai ranked as one of the safest cities on Earth, the ranking itself is not fabricated. But a safety statistic is only ever as honest as the freedom of the people living inside it to report what actually happens to them. And for the roughly 9 out of 10 residents who are not citizens, that freedom was never really part of the equation.